That's
Do you know what?
Yes.
What is coming is better than what is gone. Did you get that?
Yeah, I did.
I always just work so hard with my head down in the computer. I wanted it so bad. Just work. That's it. Isn't that song? Work. I swear they looked into my household. They thought I'm gonna define Nicole as that, and it was work. But it's work ethic.
One of the things that I've always said that it takes to become successful is the desire to want something more than anybody else in the world. You have to think about it. Something that you really, really want and go after it. And then you gotta do it so much better and so much more carefully and thought out than anybody else would do. And it's not just working harder or working smarter, it's how much you put into it, inside. So my words of advice of how you get to somewhere, somebody just thinks somebody who's successful just happened to walk into it, is not at all what it seems to be.
In my heart, I kind of had one of those moments of this is how I'm not gonna die this way. I am not gonna be another statistic of all these other people who are doing it. And I literally invested and saved, and I got enough to buy this computer, a cheap computer, because I never had one before. And now this is in my 20s, remember. I didn't have cable until I was in high school, because first of all, they didn't have it in Centermoreland. I don't think they ran the lines out there or anything like that. Or that's what my parents told me. There was so many different things that I had gone through in my life that I was just determined.
Do you know what?
Yes.
What is coming is better than what is gone. Did you get that?
Yeah, I did.
I'm gonna tell you what, especially the high schools, the college people, actually everybody in this room, figure out who you're hanging out with. That's important. Who you're hanging out with is going to put such an impact on your life of how they think, how they move, what they're doing. That's your choice. And I was, when I was younger, hanging out with the wrong person because I wasn't exposed to anything other. I was surrounded by the same people who were in my community. And until I broke out of that, and until I realized that it's okay to be a loner, and it's okay that that's not a bad thing, that I'm crazy or that I'm this or that I didn't fit in with a lot of different people just because I was different. I wasn't in these cliques. I wasn't, everybody kind of I didn't know why, I just didn't fit in. Now I know I fit in perfectly with my team. It's just that I was in the wrong spot, but I didn't give up and I kept going forward. And the main thing is surrounding yourself with the right people because they're going to have such an impact in your life.
Her name is Jamie Moss, and she is the owner of News Pros. And just the way that she went through everything or even took on challenges and the way she did, I used to be a lot different or more nervous and uptight. Mm-hmm. Now I'm so laid back, it's incredible, because there's things that are gonna happen all the time. But she has helped me to choose the important things and the other things you just gotta let go. Don't sweat the small stuff. Absolutely. And it has dramatically helped me in everything that I do. If I'm not gonna think about it, in 6 months from now or a year, if it's not gonna change the dynamics of everything, why stress? Put my energy into something that's more positive. Something that I could do something about.
We all have gifts and talents. And I always say, find what you love doing. Because you could wake up at a job every day and be miserable for the rest of your life. Just because you're chasing either money or because you think that you can't do what you truly want to do because you keep getting told, no, they didn't want to hire you. Or you keep going and you just keep trying and it's not helping. I think I get this wrong all the time, but I'm sure that you're going to get the point of it. Is it Ben Franklin? Who invented the light bulb?
Thomas Edison.
And it's weird because I actually went to his house when I went to visit my parents and I took my son there and I still say Ben Franklin. But anyway, Thomas Edison, it took 87 tries to invent the light bulb. He failed 86 times. on the 87th, he made it. And everybody's like, you failed. And I've gotten that many times. Like, because you're always going to come up against people who are going to try and put you down. Even your family members. They're going to take your biggest dream and crush it and be like, what? What are you thinking? Where are you going with that? You gotta keep your ears closed to it. Just push out the chatter, because that's what is trying to get you those obstacles, trying to get you away from what you're destined to do. But when he did it on the 87th time, you know what he said? No. I took 86 times to figure out how not to do it. And so I took 40 years figuring out how not to do life and how not to do the things the wrong way and everything. And now I'm just finally getting into my groove right now, and it feels really good because I'm surrounding myself with really good people.
That was our segment on Nicole's words of wisdom, and the word of the year is pruning. Does that look good or no? Wait. Wait. What was I doing? Just cut?
Yeah, you were just like,
It's essential. Pruning, essential. You wouldn't know it, but pruning is essential. Not only for like plants and different things, but mostly in life in general. I always say the older you get, the less friends you're gonna have, the less things around you, because you have to constantly be pruning things out that are not good for you. And I always say it's like a weight, the bad things or just things that maybe are not meant for you. You'll start seeing that they're going, they're falling off. It's almost like taking off in a plane, and the plane is just like trying to get going, and it's starting to go down the runway, and it's going, but it has so much luggage, so much weight, so much baggage in the back of it. It's not going. But once they start getting rid of the things that they just don't need, and not necessarily mean that they're like bad for them or whatever, but things that aren't ready or need to be in the life at that season at time, it's like getting rid of them, and then all of a sudden the plane starts taking off. Well, the same thing goes for, I'm always saying about the plants or anything, and my team, depending on which, because sometimes people take different turns, and I have to recognize it very quickly if they're not going on the same path, and maybe they'd be better going on another way. But no matter what, you gotta prune. You gotta prune all the different things you're constantly, because when you prune, it allows for other better things to grow. And the more you prune, the more it grows. And the more you prune, the more it grows.
I'm gonna tell you about the little story, what made me finally jump, and I took the leap, because I was at a job that I absolutely loved. But then that still small voice started creeping up in me, and I was like, oh dear God, no. And it's like, you have to move. I got so comfortable in that job, I could do it in my sleep. I thought I could pretty much like help anybody with cancer or get through anything I could in my sleep. That's how much passion I had for it. That's how much, and I knew that I could speak life into them. And I knew if they were surrounding me, I knew exactly what to do, and I watched the process of it. They came in negative, I pushed positive, they walked out healing. It's a pattern, and everything is like cyclic, and it just cycles, and we're all in a rhythm. And as long as we keep in that rhythm, and we keep going, and we keep moving, it's like riding a bicycle. You gotta keep your balance in order to keep moving, and you do have to have balance. So when I decided to move from that, and I was getting these panic attacks at night, waking up going, it was almost like, you're too comfortable, Nicole. You're too comfortable. You gotta move. You're meant for better. You're meant for not better, meaning the job was good, but there was more out there for me, because I hit my glass ceiling. I was in a nonprofit. I was only going so far, and I couldn't do anything else. And my grandmother was getting more elderly, God love her, and my son was getting older. And it was just the three, and there was more things, and they wanted more stuff, and I needed more stuff, and I had to do more, and you gotta always want more. And not meaning it in a bad way, but you're meant for more. We're all meant for a lot more. We have the ability and the opportunity to go get it. So then I finally, for a year, took all this time, and I finally jumped. You know what? One of the things that I want to get across to people.
yeah. What is it?
And I know that most will probably be like, oh my gosh, and it's just some saying that I always do when I say that the bigger the storm, the brighter the rainbow.
Yeah.
But it's very true. And if people could change their like mindset, because it's all like, I always believe like everything, like you always have these like negative things coming in, and
like people have them every day. One of my friends calls it the monkey mind that comes
Yeah.
in, you know what I mean? And it just tells you like, no, I can't do this, I can't do it, or all these things like I'll never be good enough, or like I'm not talented enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good looking enough, I'm not all these different things, and that's called the monkey mind. Well, I call it the battlefield with mine, because it truly is in your mind. Like it's just goes over. So if you just start taking, and how earlier we were talking about how it takes, when I said that I didn't want to eat sugar anymore,
Yeah.
and it takes 3 weeks, said it was 21 days to make a habit or break a habit.
Yep.
I started changing my mind because I was like, if I keep doing the same things over and over, I'm going to keep getting the same outcomes. So unless I change myself,
Yeah.
nothing will ever change. So I started changing the way I thought about things. So every single time, when you get to the part and you're like, oh my gosh, and you feel like you just start to get ahead, and then all of a sudden you're pushed back 4 times, and then you immediately want to be like, oh my God, this is the story of my life. I used to say that actually a lot. This is the story of my life, when something bad would happen, or just like, it was just constant. Like I'd start, and then I started changing it, and I'm like, you know what? It's usually before. I read this one thing, and it said that people don't understand, but right before the miracle is when they quit. It's right before it happens. So when I started to like change the way I thought, and I'm like, okay, when I start to get this feeling or a couple bad things start happening, or like I call them storms, they just sometimes feel like they're just constant. Like when it rains, it pours. Those are more like likely to be known, what people would think of. But I really do believe that it's just life kind of throwing things at you to see how tough you are, and to see if you're willing to get back up, because it's no wonder why everybody says that it takes persistence and perseverance and dedication, and you have to eat, sleep, think, dream everything, and want it, what you're looking for, your passion, more than anybody else. And so when storms come along, if you start thinking about it, saying, oh my God, this just means like it's toughening me up because something bigger is coming.